Okay, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue on with the witnesses. Mr. Zion, call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Janet Watkins to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, go ahead and have a seat there. Make yourself comfortable. Okay, now you have that mic there in front of you. You seem a little soft-spoken, so you're going to have to give me a little bottle.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So start out by stating your name and then spelling it for the benefit of the court reporter.
Janet Louise Watkins, Jantwatkins.
Okay. They need a little bit more. Okay? Pretend you're yelling at me. Okay? Just belt it out. Okay?
Okay.
We all want to hear you.
All right.
Mr. Zion.
Good afternoon, Ms. Watkins. Can you tell the jury a little bit about yourself? Are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
All right. How long have you been married?
To my second husband, 29 years.
All right. And where did you grow up?
Grove City, Ohio.
All right. At any point in your life, did you become familiar with a woman named Rebecca Walls?
Yes, I did.
And how did you meet Miss Walls? And can you tell the jury about your relationship with Miss Walls?
We met at church, Southside Church of Christ in Columbus, and become very good Christian friends. And I was friends with her for about 30 years.
All right. Talk about what, if anything, you would do with Miss Walls as part of your friendship with her for 30 years.
We went to different ladies' meetings, attended church together, went out to eat. I was in her home several times. And also, at the time that her mother took sick, I helped her take care of her, and also her father before he died.
All right. After her mother passed, did Miss Walls actually move in, or did her dad move in with her?
Yes, her dad moved in with her.
All right.
Her mom and dad were divorced. And then she promised her mother that she would take care of her dad, so she moved him in with her.
Okay. And did you help Miss Walls as she took care of her father?
Yes, I did.
And did her father eventually pass as well?
Yes, he did.
All right. Back in November of 2018, did you have any contact with Miss Walls?
Oh, yeah, I did clear up till that time.
All right.
Yes, I did.
At some point, did you become concerned about her health?
Yes, I took her to the doctor quite frequently. And we would, like go out to lunch and stuff afterwards. But yes, I came very concerned because she just wasn't getting along well, and she had swelling in her legs and feet. And I convinced her to go back to the doctor.
Did your friend eventually do that?
Yes, we did.
Tell the jury about that.
I took her to the doctor, and several times, but this particular time he said that she needed to have a heart catheterization because he thought maybe she was going to be having congested heart failure.
What happened next?
I took her to Mount Carmel West. He asked me to take her over there. I took her to Mount Carmel West, and she was admitted. And then that was on the 12th of November. The 13th and 14th, they ran like an echogram and some other tests, blood tests and stuff, and then took her for the heart catheterization on November the 15th.
Right. Did your friend have any concerns about having this heart catheterization?
Yes, she did. She talked with her doctors and stuff and talked with me, but they said until they found out what was wrong with her heart to fix it, then, she wasn't going to get any better probably.
How old was your friend?
I would say 74.
Okay.
I'm not remember.
To your knowledge, did your friend want to keep living?
Oh, yes, she did, very much.
All right. Was she willing to go through this heart catheterization so that she could keep living?
Yes, yes.
All right. Did you two talk about that before the procedure?
Yes, we did.
And what date was this again?
The heart cath was November the 15th.
All right. And that is 2018?
Yes, sir.
Before we go on, I'm going to show you what's been identified as State's Exhibit 13A. Do you recognize what's depicted in 13A?
Yes, I do.
And what is that, please?
That's Rebecca Walls, my friend.
All right. And the heart catheterization was on what day?
November the 15th.
What happened next? Did you stay with her at the hospital?
Yes, I did. And my husband and I both were there, and we got to go back and see her in the recovery. And they said she had to lay still for about 8 hours because she had the heart cath in her groin. And we had been there most of the day. So she said, I might as well go home and come back and see her the next day because we were all tired and she had to lay still. So then after the 8 hours, they would put her in a room.
What happened next?
They called me and said that she had bled out. I presume that was from where they did the heart cath.
Okay.
And that they had to take her and put her in ICU.
All right. What happened next?
I went to see her, and when I went to see her right away, they had already put the ventilator in, and I did not get to talk to her anymore after that.
Okay. Do you remember what day that was?
When I went back to see her was the 16th of November.
All right. Can you describe what condition you observed her in when you went to go see her on the 16th of November?
Well, they had her, hooked to IV and heart monitor and the ventilator. She wasn't moving. I tried to speak with her, and there was no movement or anything whatsoever. So I questioned the doctor at that time and asked if she was, sedated, and they said yes, she had been sedated. So I never got to have any more communication with her.
Did she appear to be in any pain or discomfort or experiencing anxiety at that point?
No, very quiet.
What happened next?
They called me and said that her kidneys had failed and they needed to put her on a dialysis. And I had medical power of attorney, so I had to give the kidney doctor permission to put her on the dialysis.
Did she have any other family, children, brother, sister? I mean, you said her mom and dad had passed. Did she have anybody else in her life that would have been a closer relative?
She had some cousins, but at the time, before the heart cath, we had talked about that, and I told her that I needed a paper signed that I could go in her house because she wanted me to go get her checkbook and stuff so we could write checks. And I told her that I probably needed a paper sign because of the cousins that she had, and she said, they don't care about me, and you're the only one I have.
So you're not family, but you're her family.
Christian family.
So what happened next?
They left her on the kidney dialysis for a day and a half, and when I went back to see her on Saturday, they said that the kidney dialysis was not working.
What happened next?
I visited with her all day Saturday, still no movement or anything, and I went home, and at that time, at church, my husband had a seizure, and I had to take him to the emergency room, so I did not get back up there on Sunday.
Okay. So your husband the next day on Sunday, when you were at church, had a seizure?
Yes, sir.
What happened next?
I had a code number to call the doctor in the intensive care, or intensive care, to check on her. So I called the number about 9:30, 10 o'clock Sunday evening, and Dr. Husel came to the phone and said that he was going to call me, that I should get to the hospital right away, that she was failing.
So tell us about, you said you had a code number. What does that mean, just so the jury understands?
The hospital gives you a code number, so you know, a lot of people can't call and check on your loved ones or whatever, and I was the one that was allowed to check on her through the hospital.
So they could talk about confidential medical stuff with you?
Yes, about medical things.
Okay. And so how did you know this was Dr. Husel you were speaking to? Did he identify himself?
Yes, he did.
All right. So this is Sunday evening after how's your husband doing? He had that seizure earlier that day?
Yeah, he had a stroke, and he has seizures, and it caused him to be blind, and we're having a real hard time right now.
I'm sorry to hear about that. So back when this happened, that Sunday night when you had called to check on your friend Rebecca, that was the same day that your husband had that seizure at church?
Yes, I had to get somebody to stay with him before I could leave to go to the hospital, but I did get my sister, and I left right away for the hospital.
Okay. What time do you think you got to the hospital?
It was about 11:30.
What happened next?
Dr. Husel met me in the room and said I had two choices. I could either leave her the way she was, which I knew she did not want to be, or we could pull the ventilator and let her go peacefully.
Were you given any hope that she could recover?
No.
What happened next?
They came in and took out the dialysis machine, and then Dr. Husel asked me to leave the room.
Oh, did you think about the choice? Did you pray about the choice?
Oh,
that he
yes.
gave you?
I thought about it for about an hour and prayed about it, and knew that she did not want to live the way she was. And so I decided at that time to have the ventilator pulled.
Okay. So you had had conversations with your friend about her end-of-life wishes?
Yes, I did. Before the heart catheterization, she had signed some papers, and when I went to the hospital that morning, she said, I have left everything to you. And I said, what? And she said, the papers are all signed. Well, when I picked up the papers, it was medical power of attorney that she had signed. And I still do believe that she thought that she gave me the power of attorney for everything.
Okay.
But I told her, I said, it's just power of attorney for medical. And she said, well, she wanted to sign a paper for non-life supports. But we did not get a chance to get that done before they took her for her heart cath.
All right. Were you aware of whether Mrs. Watkins, whether Miss Walls would want to be permanently on a ventilator in a vegetative or coma state?
I know she would not.
Okay.
She told me that.
And that was your understanding, those were your two choices, leave her like that until she dies or take her off so she can pass peacefully?
Right, yes.
What decision did you make for your friend?
After thinking about it and praying about it for about an hour, I decided I knew she did not want to live the way she was and decided to have the ventilator pulled.
Okay. What happened next?
I stepped out in the hallway, and then Dr. Husel came back and told me I could go back in the room with her. And I went back in the room. I felt at that time that she was already gone. But, you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, so I don't know for sure, but there was no way to tell about her heart or her breathing because all the things had been taken off of her. The monitors, the heart monitor, and all that was gone.
What happened next?
I walked up to the bed beside of her, and of course there was no motion or anything. I mean, she just, just laid there, and that's another reason I thought she was already gone. And I just visited with her for a few minutes, and I can't remember if they came back in and told me she was already gone. I can't remember. But I stayed there for probably about a half hour, and then I left the hospital.
At any point, were you told that she would be given pain medications or benzodiazepines for pain and anxiety?
They never mentioned the medication. They just said that they would give her something so that they could pull the ventilator, but I did not know what they had given her.
Did your friend at any point during this visit appear to be in pain or experiencing anxiety from what you saw prior to her having the ventilator pulled?
No.
Do you know whether or not it was your friend's wishes, your friend Rebecca Wall's wishes, to experience a natural death?
I do know that. She told me.
Did she want to have a natural death?
A natural death.
All right. At some point, did you leave the hospital that night?
Pardon me?
At some point, did you leave the hospital that night?
Yes, I did.
All right. At some point later, maybe a month or so later, maybe a little bit longer than a month, were you contacted by the hospital regarding the death of your friend Rebecca Walls?
Yes. It was about a month. They contacted me and told me that she had...
Without telling us what they told you, you were contacted about her death?
Yes, I was.
All right. And thereafter, were you contacted by the police, and did you speak with the police about the death of your friend Rebecca Walls?
Yes, I did.
And have you, as her power of attorney, on behalf of her estate, filed or at some point involved in civil litigation regarding your friend's death?
Yes.
All right. And finally, is it your belief that your friend experienced a natural death?
Objection, Your Honor, as to relevance.
Let's lay a little bit in there, because you're asking her to opine about a natural death, so.
Based on the information you have today, is it your belief that your friend's wish to have a natural death, do you believe, based on what you know today, that your friend experienced a natural death?
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, let's go aside. You say Burke. Objection sustained. Next question.
May I continue, Judge?
Yes.
You were able to observe your friend prior to the ventilator being pulled?
Yes.
You've already testified about the condition you observed her in. At any point, did you or did you hear anybody request that she be given pain medication for anything that you or anyone else there observed?
No.
At any point, did you or did you hear anybody else request that she be given anxiety medicine based on anything you or anyone else observed?
No.
And at any point, did anyone explain to you the types and the amounts of medicine they would give her when they pulled out the ventilator?
No, sir.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Cross.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Diane Menashe on behalf of Dr. William Husel. Nice to meet you. Just a few questions.
Okay.
Not as mean as you've been told. Or at least I'll try. I know, just pulling a piece of paper, but would it surprise you to know that the code that you talked about is actually a code that allows you to call a phone that's managed by the nurses?
I'm not sure.
So let's just talk about the code.
Okay.
You were provided with a set of numbers that you could call into the hospital.
Right.
And the set of numbers were used as identifiers, that if you gave those numbers, then the hospital could release otherwise privileged information to you.
Right.
And I know you talked about using the code, and you mentioned that you believed that Dr. Husel was the one that had answered the phone. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, I do remember saying that.
Let's go prior to you making that call.
Okay.
If you remember, had you ever spoken to Dr. Husel up until that point?
No.
So fair to say, when you called, at the moment you called, you didn't know what Dr. Husel's voice sounded like at that time.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay. And I just asked the name, but does the name Jordan Blair sound familiar to you as a nurse that you might have spoken to?
I know there was a nurse, a male nurse that worked in the room with us, but I do not remember what his name was.
But you used the code,
Yes.
and you called the number that you were provided on the ICU floor. Is that right?
Right.
And someone spoke to you on the phone after you provided the code and said you should get down here, things don't look good. Does that sound about right?
Well,
Yeah, tell me.
okay, as I remember now, I believe someone else answered the phone. I didn't mean Dr. Husel did. And they said that Dr. Husel wanted to speak with me. So he came to the phone. And that's when he told me that he was going to call me and tell me to get down there because she was declining.
Okay. So someone other than Dr. Husel answered the phone, as you're now remembering this?
Yes, prior to that.
And then Dr. Husel got on the phone and said, oh, I was going to call you.
Yes.
And then you, after you got coverage for your husband, you were able to come down to the hospital.
Yes.
And that's when you testified that Dr. Husel had indicated to you during that conversation that Rebecca wasn't going to get any better.
Right.
And do you remember giving a police interview in January of 2019 in this case?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember telling the police that when Dr. Husel talked to you about Rebecca's condition, that you said you knew that she wasn't going to get any better?
Well, I knew from what he was saying that she wasn't going to get any better.
Okay, well, let's go back.
Okay.
You had, over the course of those days, had you not, been privy to a number of conversations with the doctors about Rebecca's kidneys.
Yes.
And we just knew from your testimony that the first time you talked to Dr. Husel was on that phone call, according to your testimony, right?
Right.
So I want to talk about all of the days before that phone call, all the interaction you had with the doctor about the heart cath. Remember those conversations?
Right.
Remember the conversations about the aortic valve, she was too sick for it to even be replaced, right?
I'm not sure about being replaced because they said until they did the heart cath, we could not know what to do with the heart.
Okay, and you approved the heart cath, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And you mentioned on direct that dialysis, you know that dialysis was not successful.
Right.
And her kidneys, as you told the police, that her kidneys were pretty much gone. Do you remember telling the police that you had known that?
At the time before she went to surgery, I believe the kidney doctor said that she was in stage 3.
Stage 3 or stage 4, do you remember telling the police? And I know it's been time, I just asked you.
I'm not real sure.
Okay. But it wouldn't surprise you to know that you told the police that you believed her kidneys were pretty much gone, and then separate from the kidneys, her lungs weren't getting any better. That you had told the police you knew that.
That her lungs?
That's right.
Yeah, she was having trouble breathing, yes.
And in fact, before she got to Mount Carmel West, as her friend, hadn't you for several days told her, you have got to go to the doctor?
Yes,
You had told her, please call, because you, as her friend, hadn't you been really concerned about her health?
right.
And please call the doctor, and then we're all adults. And then Rebecca, for whatever reason, didn't call the doctor the next day. It didn't seem to improve, and you said, Rebecca, please call the doctor,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then finally, you just had to take her.
Yeah, well, she did call and make the appointment, and I took her.
And so you had seen this progression before she went to Mount Carmel of some health conditions that you were concerned about.
Right.
And I presume, tell me if I'm wrong, but Rebecca entrusted you with the decision to make about her living will because you were her very good friend.
She didn't get a chance to make out the living will.
Oh, she gave you the power of attorney,
Yeah, medical.
medical power of attorney. And so you were the one that made the decision
For
for her
the,
palliative extubation.
yes,
And you thought about it and prayed on it for an hour, you said?
about an hour.
And is it right to say that during that hour you thought about how she had communicated to you her wish that she did not want to live on a ventilator?
Yes,
She did not want to be on a ventilator.
right.
And what you were told at the hospital by Dr. Husel and by the nurses, I remember you telling the police, is it true that you said they said she would be comfortable?
Made comfortable, you mean?
Yes, after she was extubated, she would be comfortable.
I think so, I believe so.
Thank you, nothing further.
Redirect.
You were told she would be made comfortable? Is that what that last question was, an answer?
After they pulled the ventilator? Yes, that's what they were supposed to make her comfortable.
At any point, did you tell them to just put your friend down as quickly as possible?
No, I did
Objection, Your
not.
Honor.
That's what this
I'm
case
going
is
to
about?
permit it.
Did you ask him that?
No, I did not.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Okay. Ma'am, you may step down. You're done. You can step down. Just hold on for a second. It's my understanding that we got through the witnesses quicker than we thought.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so you have no more witnesses today?
Not today.
Trying to keep within my schedule. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll send you home early. Whoever's taking the trip today, be safe. Okay? Whoever's helping, thank you. You guys have a great weekend. We'll start at 9 o'clock on Monday. Be safe. And remember what we talked about 2 days ago? If anybody comes down with symptoms, you give David a call. Okay? Okay, with that, remember the admonitions? Ladies and gentlemen, you may rise. Have a great weekend. Just relax right there. Let them get through first. You're good. They're very polite to each other, so. Safe travels to whoever. Mr. Zion?
Sir.
Everybody will be relaxed and be seated. Anything for the record?
Not from the state, Judge.
Okay, state, defense?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Monday, 9 o'clock.
Judge, there might be something if I can have a minute.
Okay,
I'm trying to get some information.
What? What are we doing? What's up?